ladies and gentlemen. You're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Subway Series South shifts to Steinbrenner Field here in Tampa, Florida. The Mets take the bus this time. David Wright and the team that beat the Yankees yesterday will go up against Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez, and the two managers get together as well, Joe Girardi and Terry Collins, in their final spring training game of the exhibition slate. As today, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the New York Yankees against the New York Mets from Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball, along with Lou Piniella and Ken Singleton. I'm Michael Kay. Well, this is the final spring training game for both teams, and the thing you want is no one to get hurt. That's the bottom line. Freddie Garcia is going to start for the Yankees. He's finishing up. Just starting, though, and coming in relief is going to be Andy Pettitte.
Yeah, ever since Jack Curry broke the news that the Yankees had re-signed Andy Pettitte, I'm looking forward to this day. Andy's going to pitch at least an inning here today. At least he's scheduled to do so. And I'm anxious to see what he's got. First of all, he says his arm is fine. Well, I guess we'll find out a little bit about that today. But also he has to get his legs underneath him. Andy Pettitte getting closer to being in a Yankee uniform for real.
Some simulated games for Andy Pettitte. This is the first time he's actually facing competition from the other side, so it is going to be interesting. Now, Lou, you've managed before. Let's get that perspective. Last game of the spring, what's going through your head?
Well, you want the season to start. A couple things from a manager's perspective. As spring training draws to a close, you want to be injury-free. And outside of the injury to Chamberlain and Pineda, the injuries for the Yankees they're in great shape. As far as wins and losses are concerned, you want to start playing good baseball at the end of spring training, gain some momentum for the start of the season, and the Yankees are playing their best baseball of the season right now, so it bodes well for them.
All right, the Yankees will start their season Friday in St. Pete. The Mets start their season tomorrow at Citi Field. Well, we are ready for baseball here, and yes, it should be fun. When we come back, we'll have the lineups, first pitch, Yankees against the Mets, right here on Yes. Today's Game on Yes is brought to you in part by Cadillac. Visit CadillacTristate.com to find a dealer near you. By 5-Hour Energy, when you've got to get stuff done. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. A beautiful sun-splashed day here in Tampa, Florida. Another sellout crowd is on hand at Steinbrenner Field. And let's look at the game time weather conditions brought to you by Toyota. 84 degrees here in Tampa, and it's pretty nice in the Bronx. Yankees will be there a week from Friday, on Friday the 13th, to open their home season against the Angels today at 61 degrees and sunny. At this time of the year, at this time of the spring, players are just looking to get going. They want the games to count. And after today, the games will count. The Mets 9-19-2 in the spring. The Yankees 17-12-3. And there's always been two schools of thought, Lou. How important is a record in spring training? How important is winning in spring training? Some people say it's more important for teams that are young and building.
For young teams, it's more important, the win-loss record. But what is important, though, is that you play good baseball at the end of spring training. You don't want to go into the season losing, being flat. You want to gain some momentum, like I mentioned in the pregame show, and the Yankees are playing their best baseball of the season. I've been very impressed with this spring training. The coaches, the manager, the players, they've got great chemistry on this team, so I expect a really, really good season from the Yankees.
And Kenny, as a hitter, you want to be locked in right about now.
Yeah, if you don't have it by now, you better get it pretty soon, because you're going to be opening up on Friday. And I think the Yankees lately have been swinging the bats very well. I agree with Lou. They're playing their best baseball. They started about 2.5 weeks ago. They really started to kick it in. That includes the pitching, and Freddie Garcia, who's on the mound today.
All right, Freddie Garcia is going to start. We told you earlier, Andy Pettit will come in relief. This is the lineup that Freddie is going to face. Andres Torres, the DH, will lead off, batting second, and playing second, Daniel Murphy. David Wright at third base will bat third. Cleaning up, first baseman Ike Davis. Jason Bays in left field, he'll bat fifth. Batting sixth, playing right field, Lucas Duda. Scott Hairston in center field will bat seventh. Batting eighth and catching, Josh Thole. And Ruben Tejada, the shortstop, is going to bat ninth for the Mets.
You can see the veteran Freddie Garcia taking his final warm-up tosses before we get started with this afternoon's final spring training game. Freddie Garcia, a year ago, I think the Yankees would take the same sort of year from Freddie Garcia that he had last year. 12-8, 3.62 ERA. You can see he did a great job when he was out there on the mound for the Yankees in the fifth starting spot. Let's check out the Volkswagen Pitcher Scouting Report on Freddie Garcia. Back when he was a younger pitcher and threw really hard, he was known as El Torpedo in Venezuela, where he grew up. El Torpedo. He threw very hard sinker. Right now, he's not that type of pitcher. He's a math wizard. He can add, he can subtract a little bit, take something off, add a little bit here and there. And once you get two strikes, he's got a put-away splitter, one of the best split-finger fastballs in the American League.
So Garcia, who pitched well so far this spring and made the team, even if there wasn't an injury to Pineda, it looked like he was going to make the starting rotation, and he's in there, and this is his final tune-up. He'll be the Yankees' fifth starter at the start of the year. Andres Torres digs in. 7 for 24 so far in the spring. He's ready. Garcia's ready. Let's do it here in Tampa. And the first pitch is high, and we are underway. And there's a strike. Down 1-1.
Well, this is a type of day, Lou, you'd like to have a pitcher like Garcia on the mound. He throws a lot of strikes. This is the last game of spring training.
And he pitches quick.
Grounded to second. Cano. One away. Want to take a look at the Yankee defense, brought to you by the Home Depot. In the outfield, this is pretty much the defense you're going to see on Friday against Tampa Bay. Gardner, Granderson, and Swisher left to right. In the infield, A-Rod, Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira. That's third to first. Russell Martin behind the plate. And Freddie Garcia is on the mound. And here is Daniel Murphy. Count 1-0. Pitch is high.
Interesting story with Daniel Murphy, Lou. And most players who are converted, they go from the infield to the outfield. He came from the outfield to the infield. It's usually the other way around.
That's a much tougher adjustment. It's much more difficult to play infield than it is in the outfield, especially from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, I remember in the minor leagues, they wanted me to play a little first base. I was much too close to the baseball.
I'll tell you, I played first base a couple times, and I asked our pitchers, please do not throw over on pickoff.
Let him steal.
Let him steal. Tell Thurman, why don't you just pitch out and get them as they steal? We don't want to hold them too close here at first.
Murphy's having a pretty good spring, hitting over 300.
And now that average got higher.
Yep, got a little better. You know, hitters, they look at those final numbers of the spring. You have an idea how you're hitting, and when he sees that he's hitting over 300 going into the regular season, he's locked in. Let's see where the pitch is. It looks like it's right down the middle. Pitch should be hit hard, and it was.
Well, one thing about batting averages in spring training, they're very deceiving. Sometimes you leave spring training on fire. You get off to a slow start. Other times you think to yourself, when am I going to get my next hit?
Pitch to David Wright. Is a strike.
But then you go up north. You get in cooler weather, Kenny, and you get a little stronger. You pick up some bat speed, and you get off to good start. So you never know.
Lou, do you remember a player named Joe Haig with the St. Louis Cardinals?
He's a left-hand hitter. I remember
right.
Joe.
He had a spring where he hit close to 600.
That one's driven to center field. Granderson will make the play for the second out.
Those are back in the days when I was with the Mets, and in spring training was over in St. Pete. The Cardinals were there too. And every time up, he was getting a hit. When the season started, he couldn't find one until about May or June. And he ended up hitting a little over 200 that year.
Yeah, it's hit or miss. The important thing early in the season, especially in cooler weather, is to take pitches and really get a good perspective of the strike zone. Because if you start chasing bad pitches in cold weather, you've got a lot of problems.
Here's Ike Davis. He ended yesterday's game with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth inning at Digital Domain Park in Port St. Lucie as the Mets beat the Yankees 7-6. Hot shot up the middle, hits second base, and it caroms out to left field. Daniel Murphy will go to third, and a base hit for Davis.
Well, Freddie Garcia has already been hit by a ball this spring and missed a little bit of time, and this one just kind of cleared his right shoulder. Whew. That was close. One of those chuck and ducks.
Well, one thing about Davis, he swings the bat a lot better than his dad did when he pitched for the Yankees.
Yeah, I don't think
about Ron.
Yeah, his dad had good stuff.
He really did.
A good pitcher.
Here's Jason Bay, who is still looking for his first spring training RBI.
That's pretty hard to believe, especially when you're playing 30-plus games down here.
Got 45 at-bats and no ribbies. And that's a concern for the Mets. He struggled last year. Came into spring training this year and said, I'm done listening to everybody. Everybody has advice. I'm just going to go out there and be as comfortable as I can. Having no RBIs is not a comfortable feeling.
And a 200 batting average as well.
Well, excuse me, Kenny. He had that great season in Boston. Where that left field wall was made to his liking. And then all of a sudden he goes to a bigger ballpark in New York. Start over swinging, trying to hit the ball for more power. And what happens is you suffer.
All of a sudden you forget to get your hits to the opposite field on some tough pitches down and away. You're trying to pull those. You're either missing them or hitting ground balls at shortstop.
Count 3-0 to Bay.
You know, Michael mentioned the fact he doesn't have an RBI, which of course means he doesn't have a home run. I used to like to at least hit one home run in spring training just to prove to myself I could still do it.
Right.
I hadn't forgotten over the winter.
Lays a strike in. 3-1. A lot of pregame speculation that there would be a lot of first pitch swinging. We have not seen that with the Mets. Count is full at 3-2.
We played down in Fort Lauderdale. Mr. Steinbrenner would say, boy, you guys play the quickest games I've ever seen.
So the runner at first will go. 3-2 and 2 outs here on the top of the first. Just underway at Steinbrenner Field.
tell you this, though, Kenny, when you're taking 3-0 and 3-1 fastballs, that might be a reason you don't have an RBI in the spring.
You're right. Those are pitches that are tailor-made for a hitter. You try your darndest to get ahead on count so you can get a decent pitch to hit. That's when pitchers are more apt to find the middle of the plate, or at least towards the middle.
And Bay works a walk. So that'll load the bases against Freddie Garcia. The Yankees don't get overly concerned with these situations with Garcia because he doesn't give in, and he's a veteran, and he knows how to dial it up, and as Kenny said, subtract and add on. And these are the situations that get young pitchers in trouble, but Garcia gets into these situations a lot. He's not going to give in.
In a way, he kind of reminds of El Duque, Lou. El Duque would walk two guys to get to the guy he knew he could get out, and then he'd get out of trouble and walk off the mound like nothing happened.
Here's Lucas Duda, a world of power for Duda, and he has the bases loaded. Off speed.
I think this guy's going to be a really good hitter. And as I look at him at the plate, he kind of reminds me of Rusty Staub in his build. Of course, Rusty Staub is one of the better Mets of all time. In fact, I got traded for Rusty. I went to Montreal in that deal with two other, Mike Jorgensen and Tim Foley, and the Mets got Rusty Staub.
Well, that was a good deal for both teams.
I'd like to think that way.
Yes. Yeah, this kid's got a lot of power.
Yeah.
He's 26 years old. Mets had him in the 7th round of the 2007 draft. He made his debut in 2010, and he is their right fielder this year.
Well, he's paid his dues down in the minors, so it's time for this young man to take the bull by the horns and have a good season and earn himself some money at the big league level.
One ball, 2 strikes, bases loaded. Top of the first. Swing and a miss, got him. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. So he works into and out of trouble. Mets leave the bases loaded. The Yankees coming to bat. Out of trouble in the top of the first. Now Dylan G on the mound for the Mets. And if you want to fill out your Friday opening day lineup card out early, this will be the Yankees lineup against the Rays on Friday against James Shields. The captain, the shortstop, Derek Jeter leads off. Batting second, playing center field, Curtis Granderson. Robinson Cano at second. Alex Rodriguez is at third. Mark Teixeira bats fifth. He'll play first. Nick Swisher in right field hits sixth. Batting seventh, the DHing Raul Ibanez. Russell Martin will catch. He'll bat eighth. And batting ninth and playing left field, Brett Gardner.
Young man from Texas, Dylan G on the mound for the New York Mets, facing the Yankees this afternoon. And that's what he did last year. Good record, 13-6, kind of an elevated ERA, but less than a hit per inning. And 114 strikeouts and 71 walks for Dylan G. Let's check out our Volkswagen pitcher scouting report on young Mr. G. He's really not an overpowering type pitcher. He doesn't have a dominant pitch, which means he's going to have to mix the pitches that he has well to get out of trouble and keep the runners off base. And he's the 21st round pick of the New York Mets, and he's come through their system and made his way into the starting rotation.
Here's Derek Jeter. He's got a good spring, 14 for 42. Driven out to right center. Catch is made by Hairston, one away. Let's take a look at the Mets defense, brought to you in part by the Home Depot. May, Hairston, and Duda, left to right in the outfield. Infield, David Wright, Ruben Tejada, Daniel Murphy, and Ike Davis, third to first. Josh Tolley behind the plate. Dylan G is on the mound. Here's Curtis Granderson. Curtis 18 for 46 this spring. 391. Grounded to first. It seems like the Yankees got the memo of last spring training game. The Mets didn't receive that memo, so Jeter swings at the first pitch. I believe that was the second pitch for Granderson.
Well, the Yankees are the veteran team. And you would think the Mets would be swinging. They've got to travel to New York to open up their season tomorrow in Atlanta, against Atlanta.
And the Yankees get to stay here because they open in St. Pete, so they're not going anywhere. Here's Robinson Cano, 14 for 59 in the spring, but he has 15 ribbies. He's going to get a lot of ribbies in that number 3 hole.
And he swings at the first pitch. Leading the team in runs batted in, but also his batting average has been on the rise. He's starting to get in the groove.
Yeah, he told me today that he's starting to feel very comfortable.
There's a base hit to left field.
There's some comfort right there.
It's a good feeling for a hitter. And you can take a fastball on the outside part of the plate and line it to the opposite field.
This might not have been a strike. It was borderline, but he's right there on top of it. Got on top of it. Watch the quick hands through the zone. Opposite field base hit.
Boy, does he use his legs well through the hitting area.
He's solid.
Here's Alex Rodriguez. Solid spring for Alex. 14 for 48. He has 14 ribbies. There's a base hit up the middle. Cano will go to third.
Did Alex swing at the first pitch?
Oh, yeah.
4 hitters in a row. Not wasted any time. A little sinker in on the hands, but didn't get in there far enough as Alex is able to rip it through the middle for a base hit. I think he's primed for a very, very good season. Stays healthy.
Stays healthy. That's the key.
Here's Teixeira.
Well, both these pitchers pitch to contact, so it's comfortable to go up there and hack away right away.
Count 1-1.
Yeah, I know spring training statistics can be a little misleading, but when I looked at Teixeira's stats, he's walked 10 times this spring. And batting in back of Alex Rodriguez this year, it might be a little bit of a difference for him. They might just be a little bit more careful with him. He gets more base on balls. He's always had a pretty good eye, though.
A switch hitter should get more bases on balls, Kenny. It's a little more difficult for pitchers to pitch to him. And the Yankees certainly need a nice production from Teixeira this year. RBI-wise, home run-wise, get his batting average up 30, 40 points.
He's having a good spring.
He's worked hard.
Popped up. High sky. And Tejada makes the play for the final out of the first. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 men left for the Yankees. We played 1. There's no score at Steinbrenner Field. Follow the New York Yankees with the MLB.com @Bat12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, WP7, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @Bat to 31826 or visit Yankees.com for details.
That's how I watched UNL yesterday. What a great job you guys did in Port St. Lucie, Michael. As usual.
Thank you.
Didn't surprise me.
Hadn't been in Port St. Lucie since '95. That was the last time the Yankees played in Port St. Lucie. Had not played the Mets in spring training since '96.
What is it like over there on the east coast of Florida?
It's a lot different than it was in '95. A lot more built up. Popped up. Nice play by Cano. Scott Hairston retired. Lou, you remember the days when Yankee-Met games were must-win affairs.
Well, Mr. Steinbrenner always used to say, you've got to win the right games. And the right games were the Yankee-Met games. He always wanted to make sure that we had the right pitchers, at least to give ourselves a chance. And we enjoyed playing. We enjoyed playing the Mets in the spring.
So you're saying Guidry or Catfish should be pitching those games?
Yes. And Gossage was closing.
Oh, yeah.
Josh Tolley takes high. Now some rumblings amongst the Mets and people with their team. The players not thrilled that they're playing this game. You might wonder, why is the game starting at 12? Well, that was the one concession. They have to fly back to New York and play tomorrow at 1. And they didn't think it made much sense to schedule this game. Usually you have an off day before your opener. And the Mets are also going back to a ballpark that's reconfigured. The fences have been moved in, and they've also been lowered. And they might have liked to have had a workout there, but they're playing this game. They'll get on a flight, and then they open tomorrow at 1, and that's a quick turnaround.
Well, and Atlanta's probably getting a workout at the ballpark today. Players usually like to get there a day before. Gives them a chance to adjust, take care of the tickets, take care of the rooming, get to the grocery store, do things. Get your family situated.
Driven the other way. Brett Gardner backs up. And it's out of play. Also, you've been away for 6-7 weeks. There's a lot of unpacking to do.
A lot of laundry to wash.
The Yankees don't have a problem at all playing today because, as we mentioned, tomorrow is an off day. And then they just go across the bay to St. Pete to play their game. Popped up. Granderson makes the play for the second out.
You know, Freddie Garcia, we mentioned earlier, Lou, that he was a power pitcher. Well, now, you know, after arm problems, robbed them of a lot of that power. He's really become a pitcher.
You got to give him a lot of credit, Kennedy. When I had him over in Seattle, he was a power sinker, power slider type guy. He came right at you.
Ruben Tejada pops it up. And Cano puts it away. So a 1-2-3 inning for Freddie Garcia. If you're just tuning in, Andy Pettit will come on in relief a little bit later on. We'll also hear from Joe Girardi. Well, the wait is finally over. Opening day is here on Friday afternoon as the Yankees kick off the 2012 season against the Rays. Join the Yes Network team at 2 o'clock for extended coverage of all the opening day pageantry, including lineups and first pitch from Tropicana Field. It all starts Friday at 2, right here on Yes. And here is Nick Swisher. Hit a long opposite field home run yesterday against the Mets. He swings and misses there, and here is that home run.
This is over in Port St. Lucie, and Nick is kind of locked in. He had 2 home runs on that recent road trip. Hit one in Miami as well. When you start going against the traffic like that with power, you're having a good spring and ready for the season to start.
Well, he got that little breather in the middle of spring training with a little hamstring problem. And now he's picked it up. Got good bat speed, hitting the ball over the left center field wall yesterday. Is a really, really good sign for a hitter.
That means you're waiting on the ball well.
And you're seeing it well.
Boom.
Exactly.
Nick's had a couple of opposite field doubles batting left-handed as well this spring.
Well, he's going to have to be productive in that 6-hole to protect Scherer.
When you say protect the hitter, that means you make sure he gets some decent pitches to hit, because you are a definite threat yourself when you get up there.
No question.
Swisher swings and misses.
You know, Michael, years ago, I wouldn't walk up to Lou Piniella and talk to him on the field because we're competitors, But this is a guy, if you want to learn about hitting, you listen to Lou this year, because man knows about it. And I wish I had the chance to talk to him years ago. Because sometimes when I really needed somebody like Lou Piniella,
Lou could have gotten fined if he helped out in Oregon.
Well, that's true, but Billy Martin wouldn't have liked it.
I'll tell you, Billy and Earl had this thing going, and I know from Billy's perspective, he'd always say, "Don't talk to those Oriole players before the ball game."
It's amazing how the game has changed. There's so much fraternization now behind the batting cage, and for some of the old-time baseball people, they don't like that.
We used to open up against the Yankees back when the Yankees were in Fort Lauderdale. We were traded in Miami, and each year we would have a home and home to start the exhibition season. So remember, we'd take the bus up to Fort Lauderdale. As we're getting off the bus, Lou, Earl turns to us and says, "These are the guys we're going to have to beat all year. We might as well start today." And I'm thinking, this is an exhibition game. Doesn't mean anything.
Earl was a competitor.
That's not the way he said it, though.
He added a few. Yeah, he added a few words to it.
Yeah, he did.
What a competitor.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer. Had a great, great career.
2 strikeouts on off-speed pitches, Swisher and Ibanez. Here is Russell Martin against Dylan G. In the bottom of the second, no score, Yankees and the Mets. Ground ball to second. And a 1-2-3 inning for Dylan G as the Yankees go down in order. We go to the third, top of the order for the Mets. Later tonight, Gerald Wallace makes his return to Portland when the Nets battle the Blazers to wrap up a 4-game road trip. Coverage starts at 9:30 with the Nets pregame. Then Ian Eagle and Jim Spanarkel call all the action, and it's only on Yes. Andres Torres takes a strike.
Pretty good curveball, Kenny.
Took a while to get up there, didn't it?
Yeah, it must have been 78, 79 miles an hour. There's that split finger you alluded to. Yeah, when I had him in Seattle, he came at you hard, Michael. He wanted to strike you out with his fastball and overpower you. Now, he's really learned to pitch.
Did he have a splitter back then?
He had a splitter, but he didn't use it all that often. He believed in hard, hard, hard. Very successful. We got him from Houston in the Randy Johnson deal. Made the club his first year and became a fixture in the rotation for a long time.
You also got Carlos Guillen and John Alama in that deal.
Exactly,
yeah.
Yes. But it's really a good thing to see pitchers making the adjustment and becoming pitchers instead of throwers. And a lot of them. I remember a guy like Frank Tanana, for instance.
Yeah.
But the Angels, he threw exceedingly hard, and when he went to the Tigers, he just got you out with a little curveball here, a little changeup there, and a little cut fastball.
Yeah, he hurt his arm, and he just wasn't the same, but he was tough both ways.
No question.
Remember going to Anaheim when Tanana and Ryan were on Nolan Ryan were on the same staff, and I was just hoping that one of them would pitch the day before we got there, because I'm looking at 6 strikeouts in 2 nights.
Now at that time, a lot of teams still went on 4-man rotations. So you had a better chance of missing them than you do now.
And it's no coincidence. Those are the 2 pitchers that struck me out most in my career.
Well,
Frank Tanana and Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, Nolan was just very, very tough. I mean,
uncomfortable.
Yeah, very uncomfortable. If you took a good swing off of him, he'd walk up to you and take a good look at you.
Could not hold up. And he goes down on strikes.
It's been a long spring training for umpires too, Michael.
I bet.
Let's go.
That ball was out of the zone.
It was. Let's see if he goes around too far. Yeah, that's far enough.
That's far enough. Yeah. That's it.
You're speaking of Nolan, and we were talking about how uncomfortable he was. How about when he was warming up before the first inning and rub up the ball and walk and look into the opposing dugout, just stare up and down the dugout, intimidating everybody.
Yeah, I thought he was by far the most intimidating pitcher.
Yeah, he didn't want anybody bunting. No bunting today, fellas.
And then when he had that fastball going on the outside part of the plate and he drop Uncle Charlie on you,
you're done.
You're done. Boy, he threw a lot of pitches in his career. And you know what? He's made a great transition being president over there, the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, done a great job.
Yes.
And he's kind of changed the way they're thinking about their pitching. You know, just he wants the pitchers to stay in there longer.
Pretty impressive resume. 27 major league seasons, and every single one of those seasons he was a power pitcher.
Started with the New York Mets.
7 no-hitters.
There's a base hit.
I don't think that record will ever be broken.
I was on the wrong end of one of those.
I was on the wrong end of 2. So we've got 3 of the 7 covered right here.
Thanks, Nolan.
I wouldn't have hit him either. So
let's add you to the list, Michael.
Here's Tex. Nasty hook.
You know, he hid the ball so well with that leg kick. He stayed close. I tell you what, he was just
no fun.
No fun, exactly. That's a great way to describe it. No fun is right. Pitching to his 40s.
Yeah.
We got Jamie Moyer on the borderline of 50. He just made the Rockies at the age of 49. And he's going to be in their starting rotation.
Is he going to be 50 during the season? Or?
I don't think he's going to be 50 during the season.
Okay.
What a great story.
I'll tell you what, if he has a good year, he's going to pitch till he's 50.
Well, he went to the Dominican Republic this winter and pitched in winter ball. And I said to myself, what is he doing? Is he crazy? Well, I'll tell you what.
Coming off surgery, right?
Coming off surgery, yeah. Exactly. No question. And pitching in Colorado is not an easy thing to do. And pitching in Arizona is not an easy thing to do in spring training. So he must have had a really, really nice spring.
I give him a lot of credit.
I do, too.
Well, he can still pitch. Obviously, he's a very smart competitor. But the thing that makes you nervous, and Lou, you remember this when you managed the Yankees, one of the reasons that Tommy John had to retire just couldn't field his position anymore. The reflexes are not what they were. That's why Phil Niekro had to retire as well. But obviously, Jamie Moyer feels that he can field his position.
Yeah, especially when you pitch out over the plate like a Jamie Moyer does. A lot of balls are going to be hit hard up the middle. I used to call Jamie when he was with me in Seattle the Falstaff Old Pro.
Good stop by Russell Martin.
That was 10 years ago.
Yeah,
so what is he now?
He's 40 years old. The Ancient Mariner was another title for him. He loved pitching in New York, and he loved pitching against the Yankees. And he drives some of those big hitters that the Yankees had crazy with that off-speed stuff. His father-in-law is Digger Phelps.
Runner goes. And right walks.
Now Digger likes baseball. Actually, he thought he was a manager, Michael. He'd come into my office and try to write out a lineup for me and make a suggestion here and there.
How quickly did you usher him out?
Well, I told him that I had a meeting coming up.
Now, is this when Jamie was pitching, he wanted certain guys in there?
Well, he tried to make up the lineup for Jamie that particular day, yeah. And you know what? All he concentrated on was good defense on the field.
He's a put-in-play type of pitcher.
That's it.
Here's Ike Davis. Hit one up the middle in the first inning.
This guy has a lot of movement in his swing. I noticed that while I was watching yesterday's game. But he seems to get there on time with the bat. I guess that's the most important thing.
Yeah, his swing gets a little long at times, but he generates a lot of bat speed and a lot of power with that movement.
He kind of winds up, and boy, he got there on time on this one. Was that over the backdrop? Whoa, that had to be at least 430.
Boy, I couldn't do that when I played. These kids are bigger and stronger.
Better training. It's a 12-month-a-year job.
Yeah, you got a personal trainer. You got a strength coach. You got a masseuse. When I played, you had a hot cup of coffee and go get them. But you're right. This kid does have a lot of movement at home plate. You would think that a good fastball, you could get it in on his hands.
He starts up, and then his hands kind of drop, and then he has to bring them back up again. And they used to call it, they still call it a hitch in your swing.
And a hitch is okay as long as you get it out of the way early. I remember at Cincinnati, I had Eric Davis.
Yeah.
And Eric had a hitch also, but boy, could he generate power.
Quick wrist.
Really quick wrist.
Don't they say that the hitch really comes back to haunt you when you're older and the back speed isn't there?
That's exactly right, Michael. You need a shorter, quicker swing, and you've got to get that hitch out of the way. And the guys that can get rid of it.
That one is hit deep to right field. No hits there. See ya. A long 3-run home run for Ike Davis.
I'll tell you what, after yesterday's long homer and today, he's wasting them down here. You should see him starting tomorrow.
Well, here he just gets a good changeup out over the plate. You can see that Freddie's location wasn't really good on that pitch. And he loads up and he gets it off. What great extension with that front arm.
You know it's a long home run when you have the lights in the highlight.
Not only that, but I was watching our Nick Swisher in the outfield, and he never moved.
High fly ball, right center. And Nick Swisher makes the catch to retire Jason Bay for the second out. So Bay still looking for his first RBI of the spring. He's running out of time.
Well, to get him off the schneid, maybe Terry Collins will have him squeeze a run in. Saying that jokingly.
Yeah,
obviously.
well, who knows? He might have 6 runs batted in tomorrow. An opening
How
day.
about that?
Yeah.
Oh, 0-2.
Yeah, about a week from now, people are going to forget what happened in spring training.
I think they'll forget on Friday.
I know those guys are hitting 150. They're going to forget real soon. Just everybody goes back to 0.
Batting averages are important for rookies trying to make teams, trying to impress the manager and coaches, for young pitchers. But for the veteran players, just get your work, get yourself ready. You know what you need to do. I always like to get, what, Kenny, 45, 50 at bats.
That was about it. Ready to go.
Fly ball, center field. Duda is retired, and that'll do it. But the Mets score 3 runs on 2 hits. No errors, nobody left. The big blow off the bat of Ike Davis. He ended yesterday's game with a walk-off home run. Now he has a 3-run home run here in the 3rd. This chiropractic telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees that may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. The young lady in the green is our producer Bill Boland's wife, Krista, and his two daughters, Maddie and Lily. They are all much better looking than Bill, and they are enjoying the game while Dad's working.
Always a cut. You know,
Oh, I love those spring colors they had on. Getting ready for Easter. Kenny, I've been impressed with Gardner this spring. He's, you know, you watch him take batting practice. He's got some pop.
every once in a while he'll load up. How about that pop? You know where he's really got pop, Lou? In his legs.
49 stolen bases, was it?
He got 7 this spring. He hasn't been caught. So he's ready to create havoc on the bases. You know, I look at guys like him run, or back in the day, Mickey Rivers. I'm thinking, man, I wish I could run like those guys. I've been a totally different player.
Yeah, but they would have wished that they had your power.
Okay, yeah. I guess it's an even trade-off.
But it's fun to bring those legs to the ballpark every day, isn't it?
Because you didn't know if you were going to get one, to, you know, get into one on a daily basis.
Here's Derek Jeter. Swung at the first pitch in the first inning. And the fly ball to center. Chop foul.
Gardner had a false start over there at first base. He's one of the guys, Lou, that, you know, as your manager, you don't mind guys like this stealing even when you're behind in a ball game.
Yeah, you put him on your own, on his own, and if he gets a good jump, you let him go. There's nothing wrong with running if you're behind the ball game. If the pitcher is slow to the plate, the catcher doesn't throw well. Pitcher doesn't have a good move and you get a good jump, let the guy go. Now you start taking that privilege away if the percentages aren't good.
As Robbie Thompson, the Yankee third base coach, with the signs, which with Gardner probably don't even mean all that much, because as you said, he's probably on his own. He picks his own pitches.
There he goes. Throw to second. Not in time.
8-0 this spring.
Great jump.
Yeah, we'd have been totally different players, Lou, if we could run, run like this.
Yeah, it's really fun.
All they have to do is see the throw is to the third base side of second. That's all it took. Just anything off. If the catcher doesn't handle the ball cleanly, the pitcher doesn't get the ball quick enough to the catcher, any one of those three things go wrong, you're not going to get him.
You know, the one thing that scares me a little bit is that head first slide. A lot of today's players do that, and you're always risking jamming a finger, jamming your wrist.
Gardner with 49 in 11 and 47 in 10. Most by Yankees since '89. Ricky was just in a different stratosphere.
Well, Ricky was a dean. Well, how do you explain this slide, Kenny? I didn't have this in my repertoire.
No, I wasn't stealing bases, so that.
Michael?
I didn't have a repertoire.
Well, he slid away from the tag.
See, but Michael can spell it.
You're right. The throw was on the shortstop side, and he just slid away from the tag. Actually, catcher had a pretty good release.
Yeah, he did. So the throw was just enough off. Maybe just a foot to the wrong side of the base.
Grounded to third and under the glove of David Wright, and it trickles into foul territory, and it's touched by a fan. And they will send home Brett Gardner, and Jeter will advance to second.
Well, here's the play, and usually David Wright is all over this, but underneath the glove, off of his foot, and an unexpected souvenir for a fan over near the tarp. Down the left field line. Here's Gardner holding up on the ground ball, thinking it's going to be caught, but instead it's not, and he scores. That is an E5.
So the Yankees are on the board. It's now 3-1 Mets, and here is Granderson.
This situation here, you'd love to see Granderson pull the ball. He makes an out, he advances a runner. It's so important to advance runners during the course of a ball game.
To me, it creates like a team atmosphere. One guy's helping the next guy. Granderson will be setting it up for Cano, who's up next.
Little change up.
Good one. So when you get paid to drive in runs and somebody moving runners up a base for you, if I drove in the run, I would come back and thank the guy for moving them up.
And it becomes contagious on a team. Start playing team ball instead of individual ball.
Dylan G sets, checks Jeter at second, and the 2-2. High.
Well, I know those pitches are high, boy, but I like those hanging breaking balls when I played. This ball here just spins. Hangs up there. You don't really have to do much with that pitch. That ball's going to the pull field in the air.
Hot shot. Foul ball. DJ Rayburn right there.
But that's why they say, Kenny, that left-hand hitters like that ball down in the zone a lot more than right-hand hitters.
Dropped the head right through there. Watch this pitch. Granderson just misses an extra base hit. Looked like an off-speed pitch. It was on the inner half of the plate. He waited nicely, but just foul beyond Ike Davis.
But Granderson, he generates a lot of power.
And a walk.
He is wiry strong. You know, he's. I wouldn't say when you look at him, you don't get the idea he's a big, strong guy. But to me, he's wiry. He's got that very quick, powerful arms.
Uses his lower body well in the swing.
Yeah, but he and Kevin Long really got it together a couple of years ago. Was there, for me, the best hitting coach you ever had was Larry Doby. He taught me what type of hitter I was. Was there a hitting coach you had, Lou?
Charlie Lau.
Charlie Lau, okay.
Charlie had a lot of success with a lot of hitters, including George Brett, which at one time I thought George was as good a hitter as there was in baseball.
Here's Cano, first and second. One run in, nobody out. 0-1.
Yeah, a pretty good hitting team over there for a while in Kansas City. We had big John Mayberry, too. Remember John?
Yeah.
He used to hit that ball into the water out there at Royal Stadium, Kauffman Stadium, and he'd say, John stays in the water.
You know, back in those days, Lou, the Yankees and the Royals, it was the East and the West divisions, and the Royals were sort of like they ruled the West, and the Yankees had some memorable playoff games.
Great playoff games, yes. Whitey Herzog was over there, Dick Hauser. They had really good baseball teams.
Good pitchers like Dennis Leonard and Paul Splitoff.
Quisenberry, the closer.
Had Al Rabowski for a while. The Mad Hungarian.
The Mad Hungarian, right. Steve Busby.
Yeah. He would have been a heck of a pitcher if he didn't hurt his arm. I think in this day and age, they might have been able to fix what was wrong with him, but not back in those days.
The 0-2.
He had what you classified as almost an unhittable slider at times.
There was some animosity between those two teams back then.
Yeah, they didn't like each other all that much.
Hal McRae plowed into Willie Randolph trying to break up a double play and kind of roll blocked him. Brett and Nettles didn't seem like they really liked each other that much. See if they can turn two. There's one. On the first, it's a double play. Here's some Royals-Yanks memories. Against Mark Littell, Game 5, 1976, as the Yankees go to the World Series for the first time since 1964.
Wow.
What a clutch home run.
In the Bronx.
Yeah, what a clutch home run by the snatcher, Chris Chambliss.
I always wonder what happened to that guy that Chambliss just plowed into as he's heading into the dugout. What a shot. There's a strike to Alex Rodriguez. I've talked to Chris about it. He said it was actually scary getting around the bases.
A lot of people were in the field.
Those things don't happen anymore. People don't go in the field anymore. At least you're not supposed to.
They should.
0-2.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Man, that looked like something you'd see on Sunday afternoon in the fall.
I think that guy's still hurt.
I think Parcells would have tried to recruit her for the Giants.
The 0-2.
These are the situations, those 2-out RBIs, they really give a team a lift.
The 1-2.
Like the way Alex took that pitch. He's been seeing the ball well lately. He's had a good spring as well. Had a base hit his first time up, a solid single to center. Several of the Yankees are swinging hot bats right at the right time. They're going to face some tough pitchers in their opening series. You get James Shields and David Price.
Hellickson.
And Hellickson, yeah, this. Hellickson last year, Rookie of the Year.
Those are the matchups for this weekend. Our coverage on Friday begins at 2. Game starts at 3.
Good pitching on display.
Saturday is a night game, and Sunday back to the afternoon, and the Yankees head to Baltimore for 3 against the Orioles. Swing and a miss. Nice sequence for Dylan G against a very tough hitter. Yankees get a run on 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 man left. We go to the fourth inning. The Mets lead the Yankees 3-1 in each team's final spring training game. A little bit of a tune-up before the regular season.
Yeah, Freddie Garcia's first scheduled outing will be the middle game of the 3-game series in Baltimore.
Hairston hammers one foul. You know, one point I should make about the Chambliss home run, he knocked over the guy, but it became what he felt was dangerous and went right into the dugout. He never touched home plate. And after the field was cleared later on, they actually took him out to touch home plate. But unfortunately, home plate didn't exist anymore. Somebody had stolen it. So he just put his foot where home plate was to complete the home run. I always wondered, Lou, I mean, you lived through it. The Yankees went on to get swept by the Reds. Was it anticlimactic after that series? Was the World Series?
Cincinnati was just really, really good. They had the big red machine. Johnny Bench, Perez, Pete Rose, Foster,
Tony
Morgan.
Perez?
yeah, Tony was it? Joe Morgan. Yeah, I mean, look, they had a great. Yeah, look at all the Hall of Famers on that ball team. They were just better than us, and at the same time, we didn't hit all that well in that series. But you know what it did for us is it gave us the experience to come back the next year and get back there and win.
Yankees won in 77 and 78 each time against the Dodgers.
And the most surprising thing is that great team that Cincinnati had in 76, they didn't get back there in 77 or 78. In fact, the next time they got to the series was in 90 when I was over there managing.
And you won that one.
With a young Paul O'Neill, I might add.
That's right.
Was that a sweep?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Against the A's. Fly ball to left field. Josh Thole retired. The manager of that A's team, Tony La Russa, he was actually in Port St. Lucie yesterday. He's doing some scouting for the Tigers, and he's working with Jim Leland, but just taking in the ballgame.
Yeah, Tony and Leland are good friends. They've been good friends for a long time, and Tony will do a nice job in whatever job he has in baseball. He's very astute, very intelligent, and he's very dedicated. He loves the game of baseball.
And you and Tony from this area?
We grew up a mile apart. From this stadium here, maybe 3 miles.
Whenever you played a Tony La Russa team, you knew that team was well prepared for the game that night. And that's what made I remember back when he was managing the White Sox when he first kind of started managing, and I realized after years and years, I said, man, this guy's always play hard and ready.
Fly ball left field. Gardner is there, and the Mets are retired in order. 1, 2, 3. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Mark Teixeira is going to lead off for the Yankees. Then some Nick Swisher and then Raul Ibanez.
Here we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Yankees trailing the Mets by a score of 3-1. Mark Teixeira is going to lead it off for the Yankees, followed by Swisher and Ibanez.
Boy, Ibanez has struggled here this spring. 155 batting average. He's got 3 home runs, though.
Teixeira popped up to short in the 1st inning and a 1-0. It's low.
It's
Yeah,
interesting.
he got off to a slow start. Excuse me, Kenny.
That's right.
To a slow start last year with the Phillies, and then picked it up quite well. So I think the Yankees will probably have to have a little patience with this guy.
High fly ball. Way up there. 1 away.
Not many clouds in the sky today, so it's doubly difficult for the infielders and the outfielders.
Yeah, if you had a late night last night, it could be a little adventure in the outfield, Michael.
I was in bed very early, Lou.
Okay. Just checking.
You ever have curfews when you were a manager?
Yeah, I had curfews.
Did they ever listen?
And at times I went out and make sure that guys weren't out. We had room checks. I remember when I played for the Yankees and we'd come over here to the Bay Harbor Inn. Mr. Steinbrenner would have a couple guards in the lobby so that the players wouldn't be out. Now what they would do, though, is tie some bed sheets together and climb out the top balcony.
That sounds like a frat house.
Yankees actually had a road trip on this side as Nick Swisher goes down swinging. And they stopped in Punta Gorda, which back in...
There was nothing there.
Nothing there. And we had this little roadside motel that they stayed in. And everybody got off the bus late at night, and Billy was the manager. And Billy got everybody around and said, I'm just telling everybody right now, $500 to anybody who could stay out after midnight here. And there was really nothing. There was one Waffle House, and a couple of the players tried to cow tip, and that was about it.
That was it. Well, I don't think Billy believed in curfews too much anyway.
I used to say, we're going to have bed check tonight, and I said, you can check my room, my bed will be there.
That one's driven out to fairly deep right center as Hairston runs it down for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning. Let's go to the 5th. Yankees and the Mets. The Mets are up 3-1 here at Steinbrenner Field. We go to the 5th inning, and on the Audi scoreboard, the Mets lead the Yankees 3-1. Freddie Garcia still in there. He's given up a 3-run home run to Ike Davis. And the top of the order here for the Mets. And the first pitch is a strike. And we're also joined by the Yankee manager, Joe Girardi. He's in the Yankee dugout right now. Joe, how's life?
Life is good, Michael. How's it up there for you, gentlemen?
Very nice. Are you ready for Friday?
I am. Spring training gets long this time of year, so I think all our guys are ready to go.
All right, so you have until 5 o'clock today to make your roster out. There's
Correct.
Some rumors that Mr. Phelps has been told he's made the team. Do you want to elaborate?
Well, I mean, nice play, Robbie Cano. We're leaning towards, a couple of guys. We just have not announced it yet because we have till 5 o'clock, and he could possibly be one of them.
Joe, these final cuts when I was managing were tough for me. I didn't like coming to the ballpark and having to cut people here right at the end of spring training, but it's a job that a manager has to do.
It's my least favorite time of the year because a lot of these guys are so close to making the team, and it's just frustrating because you feel like the one that's kind of taking their dream away, and I hate it. I hate every minute of it. The first ones are easy, but as you talked about, the last ones are really difficult.
Joe, you have Andy Pettit pitching.
Yes.
Is he coming in after Garcia?
He is supposed to pitch the 6th inning.
All right, do you have him on a pitch limit?
He's going to throw 1 inning. So hopefully that's not too many.
So if it's 1 inning and he has, people on games like this have a propensity to swing at the first pitch and done. If it's 3 pitches, would he come out for a second or is it just 1 inning?
We'd probably just throw him some more in the bullpen, but that's up to Larry, and we'll see what Andy has to say.
There are also some reports that Boone Logan was having an MRI. He had a back issue today. Is everything?
Yeah. He hurt himself yesterday. Just he turned and he felt a little snag in his back there. So we had a test done, I believe, today, and I have not been given the results. We're hoping it's just a couple days.
And that obviously makes making the lineup completely different or the roster different.
Yeah, it does. But we've talked about possibly taking 2 left-handers, and if it's a couple days, you're going to miss him a couple days. You can deal with that because you're talking about today, tomorrow, and maybe the next day. But we'll have to see how he is.
You plan on working out tomorrow here or at St. Pete?
No, we're going to go to the Trop.
Swing and a miss, and Garcia strikes outright, and they make the pulled him off the bat. And that was Justin Turner, not David Wright. So he will reach on the strikeout wild pitch. What are your thoughts, Joe, on Garcia so far?
I think he's been pretty good today. And Freddie's just he mixes his pitches. He gave up the 1 3-run homer. But, this is what Freddie does. I mean, you're going to get some base runners on Freddie, but he's going to make pitches usually when runners are in scoring position, and that's what he does.
Now, they're taking him out, Joe. Why? Is he had a pitch?
Yeah, we had talked about 70, 75, and that's about it. So, and this way we get Clay a batter or 2, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good, Joey. Thank you, and we'll see you on Friday at the Trop.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, so the Yankees go to the bullpen, and Freddie Garcia's day is ended. He goes 4 2/3. He leaves trailing 3-1. We'll be right back. Clay Rapata comes on the pitch. And although they're not announcing anything, Clay was called into the manager's office before the game, and it looked as if it was happy news, and he's the second lefty they are going to carry. And boy, he becomes very important if Boone Logan has to go down for a couple of days because of a back issue. We don't know the result of any MRI, but it is interesting against the Rays. They're lefty hitters you want to get out.
You need two left-handers in the bullpen. And Rapata gives them just that. You don't need to get one lefty up all the time. You've got one for the middle part of the ball game if you want. You got one for the end of the ball game if you want. And that injury to Logan, like you mentioned, Michael, probably helped Rapata's situation. But he's been impressive this spring. He's made some left-hand hitters look awfully silly.
I think left-handers hit barely over 100 against him last year, so he's very effective. You can tell by the way he delivers the ball that lefties kind of have nightmares about facing it.
So Richard Lucas walks, and that's going to bring up Daniel Siciliani. And there's Andy Pettit. He is going to pitch the 6th inning.
Yeah, I talked to Andy a little bit in the clubhouse before the ball game. He didn't know exactly what to expect today, but he says he's feeling very, very good. So we'll see.
Tell you what, he looks the same.
He sure does. Keeps himself in great shape. Takes a lot of pride in what he does. He works hard. He's just a really, really good professional.
You can see the difference there. After Turner stole second base, Richard Lucas, the right-handed hitter, didn't see much. And now the left-handed hitter comes up, and this is where Rapata thinks, this is my third out of the inning.
Swing and a miss as Darryl Siciliani goes down on strikes. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 men left. We're halfway through. Mets lead 3-1. Today's Game on Yes is brought to you in part by Chevy. With a full line of award-winning models, find out more at ChevyOffers.com. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Russell Martin takes a pitch outside from Dylan G. Audi scoreboard: 3 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for the Mets. 1-3-0 for the Yankees. The 6th inning, Andy Pettit will pitch for the Yanks. Pitch outside.
Kenny, I was reading a note here on the Mets media relations.
Fly ball to right. One away.
Where Murphy is 8th in the Grapefruit League at 317. That sort of surprises me.
You think that's kind of low?
I think it's kind of low. You would think that 340, 350, 360. But 317, 8th in the Grapefruit League in Arizona, that would make the top 50.
You're saying it's a little easier to hit out there.
Yeah, it's a little easier. The infielders, the infields are harder. The ball carries better.
Ooh. This might be one of the last guys you want to hit with a pitch. I think overall, Lou, when you think about the way pitching's kind of made a comeback the last few years, run scoring is down, home runs are down.
Nice play by Dylan G. And he will retire Brett Gardner for the second out.
I think you're seeing teams respond to that. They have a little more speed in their lineups if they can. They think more of good defensive play.
Stolen bases are up. I mean, the Yankees were 3rd in the league last year in steals. Everybody talks about them leading the league in home runs, but they have a varied offense. You think of somebody like Nunez, didn't play very, he had 300 at bats last year, had over 20 steals.
I've always liked that type of baseball. Instead of sitting and waiting for that 3-run homer.
Well, I knew a manager who used to wait for him.
Yeah, I do too.
He's had a great spring, Nunez.
Base hit up the middle.
The ball really jumps off his bat well.
Yeah, other than being hit by a pitch early in spring training where he missed some time, you know, sometimes when players come back from a hand injury, they haven't been able to swing the bat for a while. It hasn't bothered him in the least. Now his average jumps over 360. He's you might be looking at the heir apparent to Derek Jeter.
He's really worked hard this spring. Shortstop position.
Here's Justin Maxwell.
Here's a kid with a lot of pop also. Swing gets a little long at times. Tries to muscle.
He's got 6'5", 6. He's tall.
Athletic.
Yeah.
Good outfielder. Throws well.
Can run.
Can run.
And from his standpoint, he's out of options.
And that's why it's important for these young players, rookies that come into camp, and they can impress a lot of scouts in the stands. If they can't make the Yankees or their respective ball club, they can be picked up on waivers.
That's why you have so many scouts at spring training games. There are teams looking for outfielders who can play some defense and hit a little bit. Maxwell was having a good year at AAA last year till he hurt his shoulder and had to miss the rest of the season. But he was on his way to having a tremendous year.
Mets lead 3-1, all 3 runs off the bat of Ike Davis, who won yesterday's game with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th. And he had a 3-run home run here in the 3rd. Runner goes. Fouled away.
That's what you talk about, Lou, being aggressive even though you're down by a couple of runs. When you have runners like Gardner and Nunez on base, unless things go absolutely perfect for the defense, they're not going to get guys like this. They are going to be able to move up 90 feet.
And Nunez got a great jump. He's an athletic young man. You know, one thing about different teams, a lot of teams like the slide step approach, the quick pitch approach, and the Yankees, most of their pitchers use a full windup.
Runner goes. Swung on a miss, and Justin Maxwell down on strikes. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. The 6th inning for the New York Yankees. We will see Andy Pettitte make his spring training debut. Stick around. And Andy Pettitte is back a long time between appearances. The last time we saw him was on October 18th, 2010. Game 3 of the ALCS against the Texas Rangers. Andy retired at the end of that season, did not pitch last year, decided during spring training to come back, and here he is making his spring training debut. Andy Pettitte, 39 years old, deals, and the ball is fouled back. When he took the mound between innings, he got an ovation from the sellout crowd here at Steinbrenner Field. "16 years in the big leagues, 240 wins, 138 losses, a 3.88 ERA. 5-time world champion, 13 years with the Yankees, 3 years with the Astros, 19 career postseason wins, which is a major league record, 3-time All-Star as well.
Big game pitcher.
It's quite an ovation he got here at Steinbrenner Field. It makes you wonder what it's going to be like when he takes the mound at Yankee Stadium for the first time, and what that ovation is going to be like.
Probably be what, a month or so?
Everything goes well May 1st, they say.
Okay. Stay down here in Florida for a while, and maybe even pitch with the Tampa Yankees. And then maybe his last start or two, possibly AAA. Face a little more experienced hitters.
Lou, what can you expect from a guy who's going to be 40 in the middle of the season, and he has not pitched for a year? His 40th birthday is June 15th.
Wow. Jamie Moyer could pitch at 50. Andy certainly can pitch at 40. Look, this guy here is a competitive pitcher. He knows how to pitch. He's got experience. He stays in good shape. I think he's good. I think it was a wonderful pickup for the Yankees. You never have enough pitching, and also you never have enough left-hand pitching at Yankee Stadium. So I think he's going to do quite well. Now, he's got to make sure he doesn't rush and hurt himself. Give himself some time. Stay on the program that the Yankees have for him. I think he'll come in and do a really nice job for the Yankees, Kenny.
And I think that what really helps him is he's kind of been throwing all along. He says his arm is fine. It's just the rest of his body has to get in shape. You know, he hasn't been doing little things like covering bases or trying to pick runners off.
And that one is just over the leaping try as Corey Vaughn picks up a base hit.
the things you have to do is field your position. That includes covering first base, although right here it comes up a little short. But you notice the veterans don't forget. Instantly, the ball's hit to the right side. He's on his way over to cover first base.
Well, you never forget how to ride a bicycle, right?
Pitch to Hairston is low.
But Kenny, you're right. It's a lot different being in shape in a gym than it is coming out here and do it on the baseball field. There's so many things that you have to do. Cover, field, relays.
Plus you get a whole, adrenaline flow is a lot higher when you're in a game, even though it's an exhibition game. Good pitch.
Popped up. Nunez will make the play. Andy is second in starts within the Yankee organization with 396. Whitey Ford, of course, is first, 203 wins. He's fourth in innings and second in strikeouts.
Very impressive.
And Whitey is also the leader in strikeouts.
That's why he's the chairman of the board.
Whitey Ford has always been a huge fan of Andy Pettitte's as well.
His fastball, talking about Andy's fastball, 86, 87. Curveball in the low 70s. I think after a couple, 3 more appearances, you'll see closer to 90, and you'll see that curveball into the high 70s.
And of course, he's had that vaunted pickoff move that has sent a lot of runners from first base with the heads down back to the dugout.
Swing and a miss. Throw to second. Got it. So a good throw by Russell Martin. Still in the game because he wanted to catch Andy Pettitte to just get a feel before Andy's called up in May.
You can see how the runner at first is kind of leaning back towards the bag, and that inhibited his ability to get a good jump to go to second. And that's Andy Pettitte on the mound. The threat of his pickoff move makes runners shorten their leads or not get a good jump. And in this case, it wasn't a good jump. That's how he stops the running game.
Plus, Andy gave him a little bit of a quick step.
Ground ball to Hall, and Andy Pettitte completes a scoreless 6th inning. So he's got that one under his belt, and now he will build up the pitch count. Andy Pettitte gets a nice ovation as he comes off the mound. The Yankees hope that's the first inning of many he'll pitch for them this year. Well, don't miss a great opening weekend tradition at Yankee Stadium on Saturday, April 14th, and Sunday the 15th. The Yankees take on the Angels, and it's calendar weekend. All guests in attendance at either game receive a 2012 Yankees calendar courtesy of Subway. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or you can call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. Well, Andy Pettitte has to feel pretty good. Hasn't pitched since Game 3 of the ALCS in 2010. Gets on a mound and can't say he made it look easy, but it didn't seem like it was a struggle.
Well, he threw 13 pitches.
Hot shot to short, and Tovar can't get there for a base hit. Zach Wilson picks up a hit.
Well, Michael, I would be very pleased if I were Andy. Faced 3 hitters, threw 13 pitches, got his feet on the ground.
Hey, Hep. Good, how are you? Yeah, we got it later, but there's a JV game, so it's only going to be like a...
There's Bill Hall.
It'll give Andy a really good gauge to see where he feels he's at, what he needs to work on. But one thing, he threw strikes.
The left-handed pitcher is Mark Cahoon, is in the game for the Mets now.
I don't know if Paul is on the team or not, but I'll tell you what, this guy was a pretty dangerous hitter when he was with Milwaukee a few years back. He's come to camp here, Kenny, and played a few positions, trying to show his versatility.
Well, I think the scouts are well aware of what he can do. He's a veteran player. He's been around. It's just if a team has an opening, Bill Hall will definitely listen to when that phone rings to extend his major league career.
Strike 3. All down looking.
He took that like he was looking for something else. Bill Hall let a fastball go that was almost towards the middle of the plate.
That was a very hittable pitch.
Yeah, it was. You know, with 2 strikes, I always tried to have that fastball on my mind. In fact, just about every pitch, I had fastball on my mind and adjust to the others.
Yeah, it's a really good feeling for a major league hitter to know that he's on the pitcher's fastball. That the pitcher can't throw the fastball by him.
That is the most embarrassing way for a hitter. You swing and miss at a fastball. In other words, you've been beaten by the pitcher's best stuff, and of course you want to show that you're equal to his best stuff.
There's a lot of ego going on out there.
Oh yeah.
Pitch to Kyle Roller is outside.
Boy, when we played, Kenny, there were more closed stances. Now you see so many open stances.
You know, I think it's so everybody wants to be quick on the inside. They don't want to be beaten on the inside. Although, one thing you can do there, as you start to close your stance when you come to hit, eventually they close their stance anyway. When you open up, maybe it gives you a little better look at the pitcher. But then when you're going to have to close this front foot over here anyway to swing the bat.
It takes a little longer to get all that out of the way. And what you really want to do as a hitter,
that one is dunked to left field but foul,
is get that front foot down as quick as possible. I've always liked slightly closed as opposed to.
That's the way
open.
you hit, if I remember.
I hit that way, but in the era that I played, most of the hitters hit with a slightly closed stance. Now I try to play golf with a little open stance, and I have a little problem with it.
Nothing in a lesson can't fix, Lou.
I need a lot of lessons, Kenny.
Ooh. Broken back, ground ball to first. Lucas takes it to first for the second out as Wilson moves to second.
On a cold day, that would hurt.
Now, guys, you both played very well in baseball where the ball was moving. In golf, it's sitting there. What's more frustrating, golf or baseball?
Well, golf is a very frustrating game.
Yeah.
And you start thinking. You have so much. When you hit a bad shot, you start thinking, well, what am I doing? Now you start fiddling around with your feet a little bit, fiddling around with the grip, and before you know it, the ball's out of bounds. And there are no foul balls in golf.
Another thing, though, Lou, we weren't trying to feed our families playing golf.
Exactly.
They would have starved.
No question.
There's a balk there by Cahoon.
But Singleton, I hear you're a pretty good golfer, though.
You know, some days.
Sources tell me that the other day you shot a 77, Kenny. Was that miniature golf or the real deal?
That was the real deal.
There's the ground ball short. Tovar across the diamond. And he will get the speedy Sosa for the final out of the sixth. No runs to hit, no errors, and one man left. We break down Kenny's golf game next, right here on Guess. We go to the seventh inning here at Steinbrenner Field, the final spring training game for both teams, and it's a tough day for the clubhouse guys. The Kakuza brothers, everybody ships the stuff home. The Yankees are obviously opening on the road, but the stuff that they've lived with here in spring training that has to go back home, that'll be shipped to Yankee Stadium, and it is a big moving day, the final spring training game each and every year, and no one does a better job than Robbie and Luke Kakuza. At least they paid me to say that, Lou.
They do a good job. They really do.
Look at the numbers. Speaking of good jobs by David Robertson last year, 1.08, 100 strikeouts in just under 67 innings.
Yeah. He's got ice water in his veins. Ball really comes out of his hand.
Wilfredo Tovar hits one deep to left field. And that's going to be over the head of Flores and go to the wall. Tovar thinks about third, but he'll stop there at second with a double.
It was a fastball that didn't have much on it. Outfielder got a good jump. Short hop the wall. Easy double.
This is Robertson's 5th game. And you wonder if there's any concern. The reason he doesn't have many appearances, has 4 games and 4 innings, is that he hurt his foot in an accident at home carrying a couple of boxes, empty boxes, down the stairs in his apartment, and took a misstep and went down. They were really fearful it was a Liz Frank injury, but it turned out just to be a bruise. But it did keep him off the mound, and you wonder, will he be ready with only 5 innings of work in spring training? He's going to have to be.
Well, he's behind. There's no question about that. Usually, you like to see a reliever get 8 or 9, 10 appearances, work back to back a little bit, maybe even work a couple innings. And right now, David is behind.
There's a strike. Torres today 0 for 3. Lined out to second his last time up.
While everybody else is just about through with spring training, for him, statistically at least, it's not even the middle of spring training yet.
Yeah, he's 4 or 5 appearances short.
That one gets away, and that allows Tovar to move to third.
And you can tell he's kind of all over the place with his breaking ball. His fastball, not really the command that we've seen in the past, where he's been able to dot outside corners with something on it. Although the radar gun, this is one of those guys where the radar gun doesn't jump out at you at 95, but at 91, for some reason, he must be hiding the ball well because the hitters can't catch up with him.
Hides it very well, stays closed. He's got good life on his pitches too, Kenny. And he's got that good breaking ball to go along with it to keep you a little honest at home plate. I'm curious if he would still be that 8th inning pitcher, Michael, when the season starts.
Forsythe is pinch running for Torres. Yeah, they might start him slower in less stressful situations. They do have Soriano. Maybe they have Soriano pitch the 8th. And we'll find out starting on Friday. Remember, all of our coverage starts at 2 as the Yankees and the Rays open their season at the Trop in St. Pete. There's a strike.
I had Cedeno over with the Cubs. Really good fielder. A little erratic with his throws. I thought he'd be a better ball player and have better major league career than he's had.
How about his hitting one?
You know, when he stays inside the ball and lays off bad pitches
like that,
yes, he puts the ball in play quite well. The strike zone gets a little big. Here he chases a ball way out of the zone.
He's probably thinking fastball. His eyes are. There it is. Oh, I shouldn't have swung at that one.
And that'll bring up Sandoval. The name Rylan Sandoval. Mets lead the Yankees 3-1. Mets trying to avoid 20 losses this spring. They're 9-19-2. The Yankees 17-12-3.
There's a skipper, Terry Collins.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh my God.
Swing and a miss.
Oh, this young man was a little tardy. He just blew that fastball by him. It's hard to hit a high fastball when you're swinging under it. You've got to get your hands on top of it. Much easier to hit that way.
Here's Lucas. Runners on first and third, 2 outs now. I talked about Friday's game, and the broadcast crew is going to be Lou Piniella and David Cohn, and I'll be there. And if we could somehow get Hal McRae into the ballpark, Lou, every single manager ever of the Tampa Bay Rays will be in the ballpark. Joe Madden, Larry Rothschild was the first manager, McRae, and then you.
Pretty interesting.
We got to get Hal there.
I'll follow him. He lives in Bradenton. Not too far.
Be historic.
By far, Joe Madden's had the most success.
He's had the best players.
He's had the best players, and he's had to. Look, when I was there, I told ownership that we could get a $45 million or so payroll, that we could be very competitive with the young players that we had. But we never quite got there.
More than anything else, Lou, he's got the best pitchers.
Well, you got to have good pitching, and he does. He's got 7 starters that can toe the rubber for you and pitch well in a Major League Baseball game.
Yeah, they had to send Wade Davis to the bullpen and Alex Cobb back to the minors.
And I saw Cobb pitch a few times last year, and I really liked him.
2-2.
Wade Davis would make a nice 3-4 starter in anybody's staff. Well, that's the secret to their baseball team. They're starting pitching. And they got some good arms in the bullpen.
Except Kyle Farnsworth got a little elbow problem here, and he's might not make the roster. Might have to start the year on the DL.
Strike 3. So David Robertson turns it on and strikes out the side with runners on first and third and nobody out. No runs in. 2 men left. They're going to stretch here at Steinbrenner Field. We head to the bottom of the 7th. The Mets 3 runs on 6 hits with 1 error. The Yankees won 5-0. Freddie Garcia went 4 2/3, 4 hits, 1 of them a 3-run home run off the bat of Ike Davis. 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Andy Pettitte made his spring training debut. 1 strong inning, 13 pitches, 1 hit, did not allow a run. And as I mentioned, Ike Davis with that 3-run home run, and that has held up so far. It came in the third. All the scoring came in the third. As we go to the bottom of the 7th, Mets lead 3-1. They have a new pitcher. It's Eric Bolak. Dylan G started for the Mets, and there's Bolak. Last year in the minors, 1-2, 4.18. Foul back by Tucson. Pitch is high. How's this for dedication in the Met radio booth? Their longtime broadcaster Howie Rose actually did an Islander game last night. Got on a flight at 6 in the morning to come down to Tampa tonight, and then we'll fly back to New York on the Met charter right after the game. So a lot of miles for a spring training game for Howie Rose.
You're saying he was on the island last night? Or
He
wherever the Islanders were?
broadcasted the Islanders game on the island, yes.
Okay.
Loud foul ball.
Boy, it seemed difficult to me to do hockey one at night, baseball the next day.
It's a different pace.
You get more stories in baseball.
Yes. And the 3-2. Tucson walks. And that'll bring up Cervelli.
And only recently, in the last few years or so, you get more international names in baseball. But that's been the case in hockey for years now. Not everybody's named Smith in hockey, you know?
Well, we've got our Tampa Bay Lightning here in Tampa.
How'd they do this year, Lou?
They're in danger of missing the playoffs. And just about every team in hockey makes the playoffs.
Speaking of which, now with the extra teams in the major leagues now, making up to 10 now.
I like the idea that 2 more teams have an opportunity to get in.
If only briefly.
Yeah, it's a tough situation being the wild card team, but at least you're in and you've got a chance.
That one is driven deep to left field. Going back, Siciliani on the track at the wall. See ya! 2-run home run for Francisco Cervelli, and the Yankees have tied the game at 3.
That one definitely had the sound when he hit it.
Well, Cervelli, he just jumped on a high fastball.
Cisco Kid. That's about letter high. Yeah, that's headed for Lake Steinbrenner out there in left field beyond the fence.
I've watched him take a lot of batting practice. He loves that fastball.
Ooh, we like that one.
Cervelli will do a nice job for the Yankees as a backup to Martin.
Flores skies one to left field for the first out.
Pitchers like throwing to Cervelli. He's gives him a good low target. He's got a good arm defensively. Can help hold back the opposing base stealers. He's got energy too. That's what I like about him.
And he takes pride in calling a good game working with the pitchers to get the best out of them?
Tony Pena likes him a lot. You know, he's worked with him over the years to improve him as a catcher, and he's a tireless worker.
That one's popped up behind the plate. Nikias. I'm sorry, that's let's see.
Jean-Luc Balquier.
Is it really?
Yeah. I wouldn't lie to you.
We're talking about hockey, weren't we?
Jean-Luc
Balquier.
Maybe Howie brought him over from the island last night.
He's going to have to block here a lot of pitches back there.
You guys remember I played 3 years in Montreal.
French is good.
Yeah, well, not as good as it used to be.
Montreal, what a nice city.
It's a beautiful town. Just not enough baseball fans.
Did you play at Jerry Park? Or?
Yeah, I did. They used to call it the jewel of the North Country, but it was cold.
The cold jewel.
Oh, my goodness, Lou. Good thing I was a young man.
Count 2-2 on Kelvin Castro. That one's driven out into right center. Baxter is there. I don't put it away.
Three hard hit balls in center.
Here's Rob Segedin. Foul back.
You know, one thing you notice, these young kids, they jump on that fastball.
They didn't come over here to walk. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
They could just walk back down to the street down to the minor league camp.
Thou shalt not pass. I don't think they've heard of on-base percentage at this stage of their careers yet. But one thing, Kenny, when you're young, you've got to hit the fastball. Yeah. You wouldn't be playing pro ball. You've got to have some bat speed.
You got to prove to them that you can turn it around.
You learn to hit the breaking ball. Some guys never learn to hit the breaking ball. But as long as you can hit the fastball at the big league level, you've got a chance to stay around.
What's the old saying that the spring training kid get off to a great start, and he right home and goes, "Mom, I'm coming back." They started throwing breaking balls.
Right. Yeah, in high school and college, you don't get the type of breaking stuff that you get up here at the pro level.
Swing and a miss. There's a breaking ball as Segedin goes down on strikes. But the Yankees have tied the score. 2 runs on 1 hit. And that 1 hit off the bat of Francisco Cervelli. A 2-run blast. Ties the game at 3 as we head to the 8th. Corey Wade on the mound for the Yankees as we go to the 8th inning, tied at 3. Darryl Siciliani at the plate, and he takes a strike. He has struggled in spring training, had a great year last year with the Yanks. Off speed, count 1-2.
Corey's more of a finesse type pitcher. Sometimes it takes that type of pitcher a little longer in the spring to get ready. Changeup's his best pitch.
Sells it well with his delivery. You can see he starts with somewhat of a closed stance, so he's thrown across his body, which helps him sell the changeup a little bit more.
Grounded to first. Roller. Can now make the exchange to Corey Wade. So Ciciliani will reach.
I think that's an E1. This is a catchable ball. And Wade gets over there fine. He's way ahead of the runner, but he doesn't catch the ball. I mean, that's about chest high with the flip. And he drops it.
Here's Corey Vaughn. Kenny and Lou, our followers on Twitter, just updated me that the Islanders were in New Jersey last night.
Oh, okay. All right.
So a little closer of a flight. He's a little more south. Swing and a miss.
I'm sure he flew out of Newark, right?
Well, no, I think he left today, so he was in his home.
Yeah, well.
If you want to contact me during the game and you are part of Twitter, you just go to @RealMichaelK. And yes, we're working on getting Lou and Kenny and O'Neill on Twitter. Flaherty is rejoined.
Yeah, I saw that the other day.
Flaherty has rejoined?
Mm-hmm.
Now, wouldn't it have been better for him to stay in New Jersey, near Newark, and get on a plane this morning, as you said, rather than go home and get up at, what, 4 o'clock in the morning?
You would think so.
Yeah.
We'll bring Howie in the booth next inning to explain his itinerary. So Vaughn with a single to center field. First and second, nobody out. Now, the first baseman is not Kyle Roller. They took him out. It's Kevin Mahoney. And this was what happens in spring training. Kevin Mahoney is wearing number 17. Now, that's somewhat problematic when your catcher is also wearing number 17. And when the Yankees don't have names on the back of their uniform. Oh, but a nice play by Mr. Mahoney. And a double play. I'm glad we identified him.
You know, that's the same type of energy that Cervelli would show you, though. Maybe that's why he got his number today.
That's Gene Michael's old number, 17.
Excellent play. Look at him lay out. Runner strays too far from second. An easy double play.
And here's Jean-Luc Lacquiere. There's a strike. in games like this, what happens is both teams will bring in minor leaguers that were not in big league camp. This could be the first time you see them. They're issued numbers that they have on the minor league side that obviously wouldn't be issued on the major league side.
Might also be the last time you see him.
High fly ball, left field. We believe that's Ramon Flores. He makes the play, and that will do it. No runs to hit. 1 earner and 1 man left. Go to the bottom of the 8th. Yankees and the Mets tied at 3. Monday night, WB Mason presents the Joe Girardi Show. It's back for a new season. Every week, the skipper breaks down the state of the Yankees, plus a look at the upcoming series. And Joe will answer your questions submitted via Twitter. The Joe Girardi Show premieres Monday at 11, only on Yes.
Well, I'm going to have to open up a Twitter account.
Absolutely. Everybody's calling for it. Get Lou on Twitter.
I doubt that.
New pitcher for the Mets is Angel Kwan. We were trying to convince O'Neill to do it, but his wife Neville said he's just mastered texting. I don't know if he's ready for Twitter just yet.
I don't know. Paul is a pretty sharp guy.
Jose Mojica at the plate.
It's almost as if they're trying to give everybody in minor league camp one at bat.
He's almost a Tampa Bay Yankees playing the Port St. Lucie Mets. See ya.
Breaking ball, strike 3.
But it's a big thrill for these kids.
Oh, yeah.
And just because you're in the minors for a long time, you shouldn't give up your dream. Lou, you toiled in the minors for 6 years, right?
6 long years. Started in D-ball, Selma, Alabama. Played 3 years of AAA baseball. Yeah.
He's just signaling to Terry Collins, let's do 8. The Mets are the ones that have to get on a flight.
Yeah, you don't give up your dream, though, Mike. You give yourself every opportunity, and you keep trying to improve.
think I was the oldest rookie of the year in the American League, age 25.
Wow. That was with the Kansas City Royals?
Kansas City Royals, yes.
But you had been on other big league teams. You just had not had enough at bats.
I'd have cups of coffee.
Right. With the Orioles and the Indians.
Yes. I remember my first major league at bat, pinch hit for Robin Roberts in Anaheim. The Angels were playing at Dodger Stadium at the time. And I grounded out the shortstop, and when I got back to the dugout, nice going, young man, Robin Roberts says, I could have done that myself.
Welcome to the big leagues.
Yes. That was the only at bat I got the rest of the month, though.
But everybody remembers their first big league hit, though.
Yeah, I remember it. It was against Tommy Hall opening day in 1969. Yeah.
The Blade.
The Blade.
He threw hard.
He threw hard. Had good breaking ball. Now, I was leading off. Now, I don't know what the manager was thinking about, leading me off. But anyway, I hit a double down the left field line.
Leading the game off?
Leading the game off.
See, that's what he was thinking about.
He's smarter than I. Not only was I leading off, I was the opening day center fielder.
Wow.
How about that?
You were Fleet Lou, not Sweet Lou.
Yeah, I wasn't Fleet for long. I was back in left field.
Who was your manager?
Joe Gord.
Joe Gord.
Ex-Yankee.
Line drive. Foul. This is a Twitter world move from K. Schmidt 2. We do want Lou on Twitter! Exclamation point. I don't like the chances.
You know, you talked about O'Neill. I don't know if I can handle it. I'll be honest with you. I don't text very well myself. In fact, truthfully, I've never texted in my life.
Really, never once?
Not once.
Oh, once you start, you can't stop.
You fall into.
Can't stop.
You
really?
Don't even get involved.
You fall into step. Yeah,
A cell phone to me is almost a necessary evil.
I hear you. But there is an advantage to texting, Lou. If you don't want to talk to somebody, just a couple.
Yeah, my wife's been trying to get me to catch up to the times a little bit.
Three-two. All really battling. The over-under on the field before this game was this game would be under 2 hours. The over won. First pitch was 108. It's right around 2:30 right now.
2 hours. How you can get 2 hours and we got 2 hours worth of commercials?
If everybody swung at the first pitch, started at 12:08. I'm sorry, not 1:08. Bill Hall works a walk.
It's going to end up being a 3-hour ball game.
Yep.
Don't they all?
I get a kick out of Major League Baseball trying to speed these games up a minute here, a minute there.
Was it a few years ago? Wasn't Frank Robinson head of speeding the games up?
I'd get more calls from Frank on trying to. Lou, we got to pick up 5 or 6 minutes on. I said, look, it's Wrigley Field. It's kind of tough, Frank. He says, huh? Well, have your pitcher out there ready. Have your reliever come into the ball game as soon as the umpire calls them in. Have your batter stay in the batter's box.
Should have told Frank you have lights now at Wrigley.
I have a theory, Lou, that could speed up games, and you manage. I want to know what you think. Pitchers are supposed to throw the ball within 20 seconds. It's never enforced.
So I know baseball has always been known as the sport without a clock. Why don't you put a 20-second clock when there's no one on base, obviously, because you can't legislate against throwing to first, and you have to throw the ball within 20 seconds. If it's not, it's a ball.
I like the idea. A lot of free time. Yeah, they have the rules for the hitters. They've got to stay in the batter's box.
But they really don't enforce
Everything in the game is for the pitcher, though, Kenny. Why is it?
I don't know. Spring training's for the pitchers, too. I mean, getting them ready. I mean, they're your initial source of action in the game, I think. That's why.
Yeah, nothing happens till pitcher releases that ball. Oh, that's a balk. But I like the idea. 20 seconds.
And then the crowd would be counting down in big moments. It would add a level of excitement.
Now,
5,
what happens if you get beyond the...
It's a ball.
Oh, okay.
Foul back. And you put a big clock in center field or on the scoreboard behind the plate so the pitcher can see it. And if somebody steps out of the batter's box, if for a reason other than an equipment problem, that's a strike.
You're going to have to start that in Little League, or certainly in the minors. Base?
Yes, you couldn't do it with anybody on base because
the guys got to think their way through it. Yeah.
Oh, the umpires could do a lot to speed it up, too.
Well, a lot of it is a theatrical nature as well. Guys come to the plate, they have music playing, they take their time, they adjust the batting glove and all that. If they just walked right into the batter's box and didn't wait for the song to end, that would speed things up as well.
Remember Mike Hargrove, how long it took him in between pitches?
The human rain delay.
Kevin Mahoney lines on the right field, moving a runner to third. So a big day for Mahoney.
His first major league hit. Quite well.
Nice
Lines
swing.
it over first baseman in the right field.
Nice swing.
Yeah, he kept his hands above the ball. Kept his front shoulder in. Now the pitcher helped him a little bit by hanging the breaking ball, but listen.
Here's Eduardo Sosa.
You've got to be able to hit those too now.
You can't foul them back.
No.
No, you're not going to get those hangers all the time. Sometimes your eyes light up too big and you try to do too much with it and you foul them back.
You know, when I played, I was strictly a guess hitter. I guessed either location or pitch. And what frustrated me the most is when I guessed right with the pitcher and he'd bounce it for a ball. You had him set up just the way you wanted it. And the guy just couldn't execute.
A lot of people don't like to guess, Lou, because sometimes you can look bad if you're guessing wrong, but you obviously didn't mind, right?
No, I had a pretty good idea, and I would guess with the catcher as opposed to the pitcher.
So you'd have a book on catchers.
Book on catchers, exactly. But you can look awfully silly. There's no question if you guess wrong. I guess wrong a lot, too.
You only had to be right 30% of the time, Lou.
That's a great thing about baseball.
I think Bobby Mercer once told me that Nettles was a big guess hitter.
Yeah, he liked location. He liked guessing.
And he liked the high fastball.
And he loved the high fastball. He really did. Here's a left-hand hitter that basically didn't miss him, Michael. And I'll tell you what, he hit him a long, long, long ways. What a great player Greg was.
That could be a double play, but it's booted. Everybody's safe, and the Yankees take the lead 4-3. So Tovar boots the ground ball, thinking double play before the ball got to him. No, it's Munoz. They brought in another shortstop, so I don't want to give Tovar an error.
Well, this ball was hit perfectly to hit into a double play.
Danny Munoz.
That was a tailor-made ground ball.
Chance to get out of the inning.
This type of situations, I don't like to see infielders get down on one knee to field the ball, Kenny.
What he's doing is he's trying to make it almost too cute. You know, just go after it the way you normally do. Because what happens, you get down on one knee, you're used to catching the ball the other way, and all of a sudden the ball comes up that last little bit, and it's up into your chest.
That's exactly what happened there.
Tucson down in the count, 0-2.
Well, Michael, the Yankees have had great crowds here all spring.
Usually 10,000 a game.
Now, I haven't been to any road games. They obviously draw pretty well on the road.
Hit him. And that hit him on the way by. Well, they had a rare sellout yesterday in Port St. Lucie.
I see that. Had 7,600 or so people. Biggest crowd they've had all spring.
Tell you what, the weather has cooperated this spring. It's been phenomenal. There hasn't been a rain out, has it? No.
How about that? Yeah, this has been one of the warmest springs I can remember down here.
This is a chance to break the game open right here.
The Yankees are sending up number 41. We do not have him on a list. This is where Cervelli would be batting. So we'll find out who he is. And for some strange reason, Terry Collins taking the baseball to extend the game. Yankees lead 4-3. Bases loaded, 1 out. You stay right here. New Met pitcher is John Church. Yankees lead 4-3, bases loaded, 1 out. The pinch hitter is Hector Rabago. Pinch hitting for Cervelli.
Terry Collins going for some divine intervention here with the bases loaded. Brings in Church. He was at Port St. Lucie last year.
Foul back. That's what Robago did last year. Line drive, they base it. 2 runs will score. A 2-run single for Robago. And the Yankees now lead 6-3.
A good piece of hitting here, Kenny. Gets a nice off-speed pitch up in the zone. Lines it into the corner in left field.
Tell you what, you're up there, the pitcher's in trouble with the bat, and puts a smile on the young man's face. It was worth the trip down Dale Mabry to come over here today, get up with the bases loaded. Maybe you're only at bat of the game and you come through.
Big thrill.
You know, you're watching some of the locations where these youngsters have played. You saw Robago played at Tampa. You know, when I was in the minor leagues, I only wanted to play in a town for 1 year and move up the ladder. Or even then, maybe get moved up during the course of the season. I remember I was in A-ball and got moved to AAA for the last month, and pitchers were definitely ahead of me. They knew what they were doing. I felt that was the only time I was really over my head as far as facing pitching.
Flores wraps one foul.
In the minor leagues.
So you had the combination of pitchers that were on the way up to the big leagues and pitchers that were on the way down from the big leagues. And they knew how to pitch.
Yeah, I think I hit 5 home runs that month, but I only hit over 200. And the next year they sent me to Double-A, which I had skipped. And I was ready for Double-A the next year. This is all in the Mets organization.
Now, where was it Williamsport?
No, the Double-A was, at that time, was in Memphis in the Texas League. It was a long time ago. It was hot.
Well, my cousin played in Memphis, I think, also. Or no, he played in Jackson.
Good. Dave Magany.
Dave Magany, yeah. He played Double-A ball with the Mets, I think, with Jackson, Mississippi.
What's interesting now, you see these kids in A-ball, and they're playing in this facility, which is a beautiful facility. I'm sure you said you started in D-ball in Selma. I'm sure that it wasn't this sort of facility.
No, it wasn't.
Another base hit for the Yankees as Flores lines a single to right. The throw home is not in time, as the Yankees now lead 7-3.
Robago goes to third on the single to right field. Well, these minor leaguers are making the most of their one at bats. That's a rocket in the right field. A run batted in. Boy, this is an indication how the Yankee minor league is going to hit. These guys will be in the big leagues before you know it. Remember these names.
Kenny, they're thinking, why didn't they bring me up here before?
Yeah. This is easy.
So Dan Warthen, the pitching coach, goes out and talks with Church. And that'll bring up Kelvin Castro.
Church finally got a breaking ball over. Been throwing mostly fastballs. He's been getting hit.
He has not had great control, so you could say there's been a separation of church and plate. Sorry, had to do it.
What is it, July?
2-2.
Mid-season form. All right, the tweeters will get busy right now.
Swing and a miss. And Castro down on strikes for the second out.
Well, the Yankees have batted around here in the 8th inning. If there's any way you want to break open a tight ball game, it's the bottom of the 8th as the home team. The other team only has one more chance to win the game.
Rob Segedin takes a pitch outside.
Well, offensively is a good way to finish up spring training. Put up 6 runs in the 7th and 8th innings.
He has been here a while. Look, the hat sideways.
Look like Jimmy Leland a little bit.
A little bit, or Hunts Hall.
That's it.
Obviously, at this point, you think he's a Met fan. He's sitting behind their dugout, isn't he?
There's a strike. Ground ball to third. Booted. Everybody safe. And the 8th run scores. So Sandoval with an error. It all starts for real on Friday, opening weekend at the Trop. We'll have all the games here on Yes. Friday, our coverage starts at 2 o'clock. It's CC Sabathia against Big Game James Shields. Then Hiroki Kuroda makes his first Yankee start against David Price. And Phil Hughes against Jeremy Hellickson. All on Yes.
Phil Hughes has been a nice story this spring. Came here and pitched well and won himself the 3rd spot in the rotation.
I'll tell you what, the swing and miss is back in his repertoire. That fastball has got that little extra life that he had 2 years ago.
Yeah, last year, throwing the ball, what, in the high 80s? This year, it's jumped up there.
He's back to putting hitters away. He gets the 2 strikes, he can blow it by him again. I was watching a little bit of yesterday's game, and or the game in Miami. That's where he pitched, and he looked very strong.
Slow ground ball short. Muno gets another chance, throws to first, and that'll do it. The inning is over. But the Yankees score 5 runs to take an 8-3 lead. We're in George M. Steinbrenner Field now on Friday, Tropicana Field, and it will count.
Well, in the 6th inning, a new beginning for an old friend, Andy Pettit. Back on the mound here at Steinbrenner Field, his first appearance of the spring. And Andy worked 1 inning. That's all he was supposed to. He gave up 1 hit, no runs. And I guess you could say it looked like the old Andy Pettit. Making some good pitches, getting some ground ball outs.
Well, Kenny, to me, that was a highlight of the day, watching Andy. Did an outstanding job. I'm sure it felt a little strange after missing a year.
I'm sure the reporters will be talking to Andy following the ball game.
Getting David Robertson some work was important too.
Yeah. And you know what? He had a nice comeback inning there. He looked a little shaky at the beginning, and then struck out the side. And we've seen David Robertson do that.
You know, as Michael pointed out, only 5 appearances, 5 innings worth of work. He's behind.
Fly ball, left center. And Flores makes the catch to the second out. 1 out away. I'm going to tell you something that's shocking. No one in the press box knows who the pitcher is. No one. No one involved with anybody knows who the pitcher is. So he's left-handed. So we apologize for that. Looks good. He's wearing Mel Stoudemire's old number.
Got 2 quick outs.
Driven down the left field line. It's a fair ball. Muno is going to pick up a double and keeps the game alive.
Well, I hope you gentlemen enjoy your opening series down at over at the Trop across the causeway. And Michael, I'll see you in at Camden Yards in Baltimore.
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday against the O's.
Kenny, that'll be a nice homecoming for you.
Yeah, well, I've been down here quite a bit this spring. I enjoy it. It's beautiful down here. See, they're home games for you, Lou, and home games for me in Baltimore.
Yeah, I look forward to going to the Trop. I really do.
It's clearly, yes, trying to cut down on travel expense. Lou drives to the ballpark. Kenny drives to the ballpark.
Yeah, with the price of gasoline, though, Michael.
The 1-1. Swung on a miss.
That change up, it was a good one. Bottom fell out of it.
The 1-2. Just missed. Boy, you got to give Chad Fairchild credit behind the plate. It's just off the plate, and he's calling it as it should be called.
Yeah, I think if I were an umpire, I think I'd have rung him up on that one. I'll tell you the truth.
Close enough.
The 2-2. Driven to left field, and that'll do it as Flores makes the play, and the Yankees win the game by a score of 8-3. So the Yankees will finish spring training with an 18-12-3 record, and the Mets are 9-20-2. Spring training is over for both teams. The Mets go home. They'll open tomorrow at Citi Field against Atlanta. The Yankees will work out at Tropicana Field tomorrow and open up against the Rays on Friday. That game will be on, yes, at 2. 8-9-1, beating 3-8-3. Wade the win, Kwan the loss. Davis a 3-run home run. Pettit made his spring training debut. He pitched 1 scoreless inning through 13 pitches. Freddie Garcia, 4 2/3, 4 hits, 3 runs, all on a home run by Ag Davis, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Well, that's going to do it from here at George M. Steinbrenner Field. Special thanks to Robin Moore, Josh Isaac, Mike Medvin, Joey Chavo, Bill Bolin, and John Moore, our Vice President of Operations, Ed Delaney, our supervising producer, Woody Fryman, and the executive producer of the Yes Network is Mr. John J. Filippelli. Join us again Friday for Yankees baseball as the Bombers take on the Rays. Opening day from St. Petersburg, Florida. Coverage begins at 2 p.m. on Yes. Once again, the final score, Yankees 8, Mets 3. For Ken Singleton and Lou Piniella, I'm Michael Kay saying see ya from Steinbrenner Field in Tampa, Florida. Have a good one, everybody. So long. We'll see you next time on Friday for Real Baseball.